All right, everybody, welcome back to the channel. The main event here. Yes, I have been away for a while. We'll get into that at the end of the video, but for now, I just kind of want to start off with the recap of the tournament. EUIC won by Wolfe Glick using his Perish Trap Koraidon team once again. For this video, I'm going to go over Wolfe's team. I'm going to show you a couple of calcs that I thought were like funny. We'll go over the day 1 usage stats, day 2 usage stats, and then we'll come back and then we'll look at the placements overall. We'll see how mine did in specific placements, which is where I kind of want to focus. So starting off with Wolfe's team. So the team had Amoonguss, Incineroar, Screamtail, Koraidon, PokeMaineEvent, Gothitelle. Obviously Wolfe Glick has won with Perish before, but this team was very, very different in the sense where one is using Koraidon, which is a restricted that a lot of people do not believe in, for one, and it's using a Koraidon set that people have not used basically ever, to my knowledge. I've never personally seen it, and honestly I think the team was more about the Koraidon than it was about the Perish Trap mode, because the Koraidon was just doing damage that people just were not ready for. It's Life Orb close combat Koraidon, right, with Flame Charge and Flare Blitz. Flame Charge is usually not that strong of a move, but with Terrifier and Sun it gets a nice like boost. But with Life Orb it gets an even bigger boost and it starts picking up damage that it shouldn't and giving you that speed boost at the same time. Close combat plus Life Orb reaches damage that Collision Course simply cannot reach. Like Unstream, Wolf, Code, and Urshifu with close combat, which is something that I don't usually see happen, right, with Collision Course, Clear Amulet. I mentioned showing like some calcs really quickly. So this is like a Collision Course calc, right? For example, obviously like Flare Blitz in Sun with Clear Am will OHKO like a Calyrex Shadow Rider, right? If you Terrifier. But like I went over here and did -1 with the same thing with like Life Orb Flare Blitz, just to show how much Life Orb makes a difference. Because like say you are intimidated, right? Because Clear Amulet blocks the intimidation and Life Orb doesn't. You still kill like with Terrifier, Flare Blitz, and Sun. Now without Terrifier, you'll miss it if you're -1, but like look how much damage you still like do, right? Like at that point the Calyrex is still kind of useless if it's that low. If you take it off with this, you can still miss the KO essentially, right? You have a roll in your favor to KO, but like the fact that the Life Orb at -1 gives you even like a remote chance is kind of like insane to me. Another one I wanted to look at were like Incineroars. So this is the Clam one. Doing this in real time for you guys. So like max speed safety goggles, right? So not a very physically defensive one. Collision Course kills, of course, because it does extra damage on super effective targets. And if you go over here, instant max speed, that is -2. Yeah, like that's -2, right? So I'll leave it up. -2 close combat with Life Orb, still 87.5% chance to KO. And if you just go back to neutral to make it -1, it always KOs this Incineroar with like the max speed one, which a lot of people do run, right? So the fact that it can still kill makes the intimidate feel much less significant than you would expect by not running the Clam. And I think Wolfe was rewarded for being the first person to be willing to take that risk essentially, right? So that's kind of awesome. The Flutter Mane is pretty standard. Sash, max speed, max special attack. Terra normal for the Cali Shadow matchup. It's funny because the Cali Shadow matchup was probably one of the more difficult ones for him, right? Because it can hit Amoonguss super effective. If it Terras, then the Incineroar can't like kill it with like, oh, he doesn't even have knockoff anyway, so it doesn't even matter. Goth is weak to it. Koraidon is weak to it. Screamtail is weak to it. So Terra normal Flutter Mane is like the best out, right? We saw Wolfe play against 2 Cali Shadows on stream, and his Koraidon was faster than both. This is a jolly back speed Koraidon, and it outsped all the Calyrex Shadows that we saw him play on stream because they were like probably bulky, slow, modest, or just bulky, modest, I should say, right? And not max speed, and not enough speed investment on the modest as well. So those players were kind of doomed from the start. They were doomed from practice because they were slower than Wolfe's Koraidon. Which is not something that you see often anymore, where those slower Calyrexes, like everyone kind of just went to timid max speed because they were tired of losing the speed ties. But players went back to it thinking that like players were not going to bring it, I guess. And we'll see how wrong that was in a minute when we go to usage stats. But they were definitely like punished for it. Gothitelle Very physically defensive. Got to tell we saw on stream that survived the Ivy Cudgel and Sun from an Ogerpon Fire. I think it was Terra Fire at that. Yeah, very physically defensive. Protect, Psychic, Fake Out, Taunt. Taunt pairs well with like Scream Tail because you can anchor them into a status move and taunt them so they just struggle. Disable their attacking move, leaving them to use a status move and taunt them again, whatever. Psychic just for some damage in case you need it. And Protect because you have to be able to protect to get Perish Song to work. The Scream Tail set, Protect, Encore, Disable, Perish Song. Basically, this is only for Perish Song. No attacking moves. 2 moves here so that he can like Encore, Disable so you can't like use moves. And if you're struggling through Perish, you can't get out of Perish, right? You can't kill the Gothitelle Hill fast enough. And then like Protect, obviously, to stall. Terra Dark to get rid of the Ghost weakness and so you don't get pranked or taunted. Speaking of Terra Dark, the Amoonguss was also Terra Dark so he can't get pranked or taunted. Also gets to resist Psychic and Ghost, again, because the Shadow Rider matchup on paper was really bad for this team. And Mental Herb for the non-pranks of taunt, because a lot of people do run stuff like Taunt Instant, Taunt Urgent Food, etc. So you can always get off like your Spore if you need to. Sludge Bomb over Puff because he wasn't looking to get health back, but more so looking to get damage down into stuff that he needs to hit. So I think this is a good call because I think the team also doesn't really have a way to hit fairies that well. Like you can hit fairies with like standard stuff like Flare Blitz. But another little option to hit them with is nice. The Incineroar's Terra Bug. Bug is kind of a good defensive Terra right now just because like Lando Y is so prevalent. So your fire types can like live those attacks. And this is a very bulky one, so I'm pretty sure you can live like water moves too if you just Terra. And most people just aren't clicking their fire moves into Incin to like call that because it's just not worth it. Because you don't even know if it kills anyway, right? Especially if you get intimidated. So yeah. Also, this doesn't make you weak to weird stuff like grass, like the way water would. If you Terra Grass, you're weak to like Cali Ice. Bug is just very, very neutral. Not a lot of rock types in the format. It's like Rock Pond, but it's like the only rock type in the format right now. Like you can kind of live through, you're already weak to that. You can kind of live through those hits just through intimidating it down. So yeah, team is really, really interesting. The max speed Flutter with Icy Wind and Sun and the max speed Koraidon and Flame Charge gave him a form of speed control because like he obviously doesn't have like Tailwind or Trick Room. But Icy Wind and Flame Charge gives him like the speed that he needs to be able to like play the games. And like also Scream Tail with the Booster Energy is very, very fast as well. Booster Energy because sometimes you don't have the sun up, but you also, with Scream Tail needs to be fast to get Encore and Disable off, right? It needs to be fast for that. So you cannot play those games. But yeah, team is really, really well constructed. It looks like exactly like his other Paratrash team, except like instead of what you call it, like Palafin, it's Koraidon, for example, which is kind of funny. Yeah. So yeah, that's Wolf's team. Congrats to him for winning this tournament, the USI International Championship, as well as the Global Challenge, apparently, which he on stream in the like the winners like thing, winners interview, he mentioned that he won the entire tournament for that as well. So yeah, next we're gonna go ahead and look at the day 1 and day 2 user stats. So for the restricteds, as you can see, Calyrex Shadow Rider shot like right back up, right? What ended up happening, I think, is that everyone saw like how poorly it did in like the last major, the last couple of majors or whatever it was, and how its usage, like it was still pretty good, right? It was like 16-15%, but it was down in 3rd or 4th, something like that. And then day 2 conversion, it was not good. Everyone thought that they were going to be like cheeky and be like, well, everyone is going to think Cali Shadow sucks, and then everybody brought it to this tournament, right? And then everyone just brought it to this tournament, and it was like pretty comfortably the #1 used restricted mod. So so it's like these things ebb and flow a lot, right? Calyrex Shadow was #1. Koraidon was #2 at 17%, so very comfortably #2. Summon Zensa being at 4 by this much is a bit of a shock. You kind of expect a tournament happening on a major level like that one of the restrictions that people considered to be possibly the strongest would be higher. Calyrex Ice Rider, consistent, always going to be the top usage. Terapagos made it back into like the 5th place spot. It's like people still believe in this thing for some reason because they feel like they can pilot it, and like a lot of people can pilot it well, but like the issue with Terapagos is sometimes it feels like you have to pilot it perfectly, right? There's no room for error with a lot of Terapagos teams, and like 1 or 2 bad turns can really get away from you. Like we saw in in a stream match, a player got thunderwaved in games like 2 and 3 with the Tropicals, and the game was essentially over, right? Because 1, it was too slow. It had to deal with full para turns, and it was a setup Pagos, right? Setup Pagos needs every turn, right? Because it needs to be able to click sub or click combine and get attacks off. Missing out on even one of those turns for absolutely nothing is just horrible. So like, it's really, really unfortunate. So I'm surprised to see it like creep back up. Kyogre, I'm surprised is below Terrapagos. I'm surprised also like only at this about its normal average usage. I would expect it to be higher than this, right? Because it's just so strong. But I guess people just weren't Kyogre believers this time. Koraidon and Groudon are always going to probably round out this group. Sometimes Zacian hops in there, but usually it's going to be Koraidon because it's just like really strong naturally, and then Groudon because it's also really strong naturally. The day one for the normal Pokemon. Oh, that's not it. There we go. Urshifu like really shot up. Like it's so far and away the number one most used Pokemon that it's not even like it doesn't even make sense to me why it's so high. And this is not like it's specifically Rapid Strike, right? Because even if you look at like other resources, it meant it's Rapid Strike and then the Dark Food was somewhere else. So 55% of teams had Urshifu Rapid Strike on there for day one. Incineroar 30% always going to be top 3, but like 25% gap is crazy, right? Like 25% is higher than the usage of Flutter Mane by itself. A lot of these mines here that you see are probably like just gonna be typical. I'll go through some of the team comps, but like it makes sense that this is here a lot and this is here because they're part of like certain team comps that did really well. So I'll get a chance to show you that later. Chiyu, Flutter likes to play with the Zom team, so does Chiyu. Lando's on like the Tang team, so it's usually gonna stay up. Whimsicott is on the Miraidon teams. It's so for a Giraffe. I'm surprised to not see Iron Hands here. I didn't see a lot of Raging Bolts, but apparently it had 20% usage. So it is still a really popular Pokemon. I do want to look at the day 2 stuff really quick though, because I want to see how these things, how the list changed from day 1 to day 2. So if you look at the day 2 for the restrictors, Calyrex Shadow Rider not only was the most used on day 1, but it also converted really well, right? From 19% up to 27%, more than 1/4 of the field was Calyrex Shadow Rider. So like maybe those players who thought like they could be slick and bring it, maybe they were right because they converted really well. They converted super duper well. The Calyrex Ice Rider at 17% also was an uptick from the 16%. Miraidon is down from the 17, but you know it's still not that far of a drop. Zamazenta is still in 4th place. The top 4 remained the same. The actual entire top 8 remained the same. It's just the order changed of these guys up top here, where this was in 3rd, it moved up to 2nd. This moved down to 3rd. This went down a little bit, but close enough to about neutral to where it was, which was about 13-ish%. Tropicals went up by 0.3, so it converted about 1-to-1, so they didn't like fail. Kyogre did drop a little bit from a 7.9 to 6.6, so not really great for Kyogre, but that could be because of the influx of the sun, right? Especially like the it's probably like the influx of like sun, because these guys converted about the same, and Groudon was at like 3%, so okay, these guys converted about the same. So yeah, that's for the restricted. Now this is like the interesting stuff, right? Urshifu just like went up even higher, like 60%. I don't think we've seen 60% usage, unless I'm tripping, since like Flutter Mane in its prime, when it was like we were using Specs Flutter. Like that's when we saw big numbers like this. Even Urshifu is usually like a little bit higher than Instant and Rillaboom, right? At the high 30%, 40%. 60 is like unheard of, bro. Like for over half the field to use it, and basically all of them to make it to day 2 is kind of crazy. Obviously, I don't mean literally all of them, but like 55 to 60 is just insane. Insane converted up. Rillaboom jumped to the top 3. Ogerpon stayed in the top 5. Mungus is in the top 5. Raging Bolt also stayed in the top 6. Again, so maybe I was just deceived by the stream game because I didn't see a lot of bolts, but like apparently Raging Bolt did pretty well. And we'll check out the placement to see how true that is. Iron Hands did creep in because the Miraidon team did really well, and Iron Hands is part of that Miraidon team, is longer for a Giraffe, which might be why their conversion is why their day 2 usage is the exact same number. Ogerpon, Cornerstone jumped in there for the main, tied for Chimpao. Chiyu stayed in the top 12 as well. So I'm going to go over to Lab now so we can look at like actual in-depth. So if you look at the top right of your screen, I actually might just zoom in to make it like better for you guys. You see the number 1 team comp here at 5% usage is the Miraidon comp. Miraidon, Ogerpon, Whimsicott, Urshifu. Giraffe and Hands, so that kind of makes sense. And like Urshifu, if you look, it's on like the four best team comps so far. It's like the next best team comp as far as like usage was Tang 6. Then after that, it was I think there's the Combine Kyogre stuff actually, which I'm not surprised. Like over in the EU region, they really enjoy the Combine over stuff. And also like Terrapagos, they like the Combine Terrapagos stuff as well. Here goes the next team with Zom. Ting Dozo kind of made an appearance, I guess. I hate Ting Dozo, it makes me cringe. The same Miraidon team, but with the Urshi Dark, but the Urshi Water one just performed a lot better. This Ditto team, I think was who do you use the Ditto? No, Joe Ugarte used like a Ditto team, but his was a Miraidon, not Koraidon. I'm actually surprised to see this. I have not seen this team composition before at all. Actually, that's pretty unique to me. Rain Zamazenta, people were kind of worried about that coming into this tournament, but obviously it's wasn't as high used as some of the other stuff. Another like this team was actually interesting. Can we see if I can find that comp? Okay, so yeah, here we go. I found the Heatran. So it looks like the Protect, Magma Storm, Heavy Slam were like its most primary used moves. And it looks like its team was like the team comp that we mentioned. I think it was like this Calm Mind setup Pagos with like disable Screamtail stuff. So basically Magma Storm would trap in an opponent that maybe can't do much to Terrapagos, and you get free setup and like free you get free setup turns, free sub turns, etc. You have the Redirector here, you have the Encore disable monster. So it kind of makes sense. I just wanted to look at that really quickly because that made sense to me. If I cut this down to 128, right? There we go. Does this change? Okay, so yeah, if I just do top 128, which is like the real meat and potatoes, like you can go 256 also because they get points. And I think even 512 got points for this. But I just want to go on like to the top 128 real quick. So like you see here the team comps that did well, Cali Shadow comps. The Tropical comp actually shot up to 3%. Oh, they're 4% usage for the top 128 teams. The Miraidon stuff stayed at number 1. Cali Ice at 3%, Ting Dozo at 3%, everything else at 2% or below. Shout out to my boy Blake for using a similar team to this, just not with Urshifu or Rillaboom or Clefairy. He had like a Water Pond, Mian Shao, Ensign, Cali, and I can't remember what else he had, but he had those 4. And the Tang team also made it into the top, into like 2% usage for the top 128 as well. Also, before I get into like the high placing usage, I just want to give a quick couple of shout outs. One to my boy Jonathan Lin for making day 2. Shout out to Olivia as well for making day 2. The Hive family. That's not the RC I'm looking for. There we go. My boy Lorenzo got top 128 with his really cool Electro Ball Miraidon team. Yes, Electro Ball. That boy be doing some things. Shout out to my boys Darius and Joe as well. Didn't have the performances they wanted, but they still really good players, and they'll do better in the next one. All right, so close it out. What I did here, I went to this spot on the I guess you can't see it. You see how it says 24 teams? There we go. I can highlight it for you guys. See how it says 24 teams? I type in 24 because that's the number of teams that made top cut because it's an asymmetrical cut. And then I go over here and I Pokemon to see how the Pokemon how many Pokemon were taking up the top cut essentially, right? So Urshifu just basically stayed in the lead all day. Even though no Urshifu made final, we'll look at the teams in a second. Urshifu stayed in the lead all day. Urshifu was just obviously just really great, but his top placement was 3rd place. Instant and Amoonguss did win the tournament. Iron Hands came in 2nd because it was on the Miraidon team. Rillaboom top placement with 8th place, so it got a top 8 appearance. Cali Shadow's best placement was also 8th place, so it got a top 8 appearance. Got 1 top 8 appearance, but that was about it. Ogerpon Hearthflame best appearance, best finish was 4th place. Miraidon finished in 2nd. Raging Bolt, no Raging Bolt in top 8 at all. Yeah, that's a bit surprising seeing how well it did on day 1 and day 2. Ogerpon best placement was 3rd. Frigiraffe was 2nd place on the Miraidon team. Fluttermane won the tournament. Calyrex Ice came in 3rd place. Chien-Pao got 5th place appearance, so it was a top 8er. Chi-Yu and Tornadus both top 5 finishes. Koraidon won the tournament. Screamtail won the tournament. Terrapagos did not get a top 8 appearance. Dozo did not get a top 8 appearance. Kyogre got a top 8 appearance though, so shout out to Kyogre, even though it didn't grew great in day 1 and day 2. It did make it to top 8. I'm trying to see what other restricteds like made top 8. So the only restricteds to make top 8, and we'll go to back to the teams, are Koraidon, Miraidon, Calyrex Ice, Kyogre, and Cali Shadow barely made it in. That's so weird with Cali Shadow because it was so used day 1, so used day 2, but it still only managed to get like 1 top 8 finish. That's a bit, you know what, you know why? Because they were all so dang slow. That's probably what happened, is they're all so slow and bulky, and they probably were getting outsped. So that's probably exactly what happened. Ursh, for all its day 2 usage, had a lot of 5-minute appearances, but it didn't even make the final, which is really, well, at least Water Ursh did it, Dark Ursh did. So even though this team composition with the Water Ursh did better overall as far as usage and the number of placements, the Dark Ursh one came in 2nd place, which might be a product of like the Koraidon, not the treads being a good adaptation for Miraidon teams. Miraidon teams can't just run the same 6 all the time. I think like obviously at the really top levels, the really top level players can like get away with it, as you can see here, right? Like it still did finish in top 4. So I like it like fell off the map or anything, and it did really good. But like I think and it came in like 11th with Shohei. Like Shohei is the 2nd to last world champion. But I think like Dylan was able to push it a little bit further by making the small changes, right? So Iron Treads with the choice band in the terrain just to do damage into stuff that like other guys can't hit, right? Because what happens here, right? This thing gets locked into a move and it can't hit fairy types. Oh, but Iron Head with choice band can. Actually, let's just look at the team. Iron Head with choice band can hit those things. Rock Slide can hit stuff for spread damage. High Horsepower hits those electric types that resist. So like Raging Bolt, which can be a bit tricky for this team because you have to make the calls on like terrors and stuff. Iron Treads just says, nah, I'm gonna click High Horsepower, and you're gonna do, you nothing you can do about it. I think Urshi's Dark is good change for this team because like with all like the Koraidon and Groudon, like it's obviously not dominating the field, but like enough to make it like make sense. Urshi's Dark hits things for neutral with the sun up. It doesn't get blocked by oh, I realized it's like cut off on the screen. It doesn't get blocked by like sun. Also Rocky Helmet, for example, only hits you like once because Amoonguss can be a bit of a problem for this team because even though it can't spore, it can redirect all the damage away. So this hits Amoonguss for like neutral, and you only take like 1 chip of Rocky Helmet, right? You're not just like hitting Amoonguss for no damage because Urshifu could hit it. So I think these are like 2 good adaptations for the Miraidon team. But yeah, like overall, it was a really entertaining tournament to watch. A lot of high level play going on. The format is so awkward because like it feels like there is room to grow still. It doesn't seem like everyone's really willing to do it, but like if you look at the teams, people who are willing to push the envelope a little bit were kind of rewarded for it, right? Like Wolfe was rewarded for winning. Dylan was rewarded by using like Dark Ursh and Treads on the Miraidon team. Like you don't have to just like invent the wheel, but you can do things to give yourself an edge. Joe Ugarte, Volcarona, and Ditto on the Miraidon team, right? Like you can be rewarded if you come up with like some new ideas that maybe advance existing ones. Like I said, you don't have to reinvent the wheel, but coming up with new ideas is really good in these tournaments because you will have more practice into the field. The field will have it to you. Like Screamtail Heatran, no one was even thinking about using Heatran in this tournament, right? But like Francesco was able to get a 10th place finish. And other Heatrans also were able to have some success as well. So yeah, I think the format still has some room to grow. We'll see how it goes. Vancouver is in 2 weeks. Then there's like Atlanta and I think Portland and also NEIC. That's just for the North American like side. Then there's still some EU tournaments, so we'll see how they run. I apologize for being so away like this month. I just have been like really busy. I just got back from like traveling for work. Like just for like the past few days. I even mentioned that in like a not Twitter post, like a YouTube post I made, which is why this video is being recorded and uploaded like now, right? I was like away for a lot of traveling for work. I was just busy. Also, I wasn't really having that much fun with the format, so I haven't really been playing on cart as much, but I'm trying to get back to that as soon as I can as well. But the European International Championship gave me something to talk about, so I figured it'd be a good starting point to getting back into recording. So don't forget, like if you want to also become a member, I'm still doing those team reviews and remixes for people. I just did one recently actually, where someone sent me a team. I then went over the team and I changed things on the team. I do try to keep the team within the spirit of what you sent me. Like I don't just like take 5 of your bonds, toss them in the trash, and just give 5 new ones. Like that's not what it's about. I review them. I look at the movesets, your spreads, and see what I think can be changed to kind of improve what you already sent me. So, because I know a lot of people are really interested in using stuff that they built themselves. So I'm trying to like help people improve what they have built on. I may change some Pokemon here or there when I do it, depending on if something just has no place. But yeah, if you become a member, send me a team by using the email address, preferably in my about page. It's the main event plays, I think it is, at gmail.com is the one. That one works, but for the actual spelling, go look at the about of this user channel. It'll show up. Maybe I'll even like put it on the screen here so you guys can see it. But that, or you can like DM it to me on like Twitter or something. Add me on the timeline if I don't see your DM or whatever, because sometimes I don't see the DM. So if you add me on the timeline, I'll actually be able to see it. So you can do that. And I'll get back to you as soon as possible. Also, you get a coupon to go badge by your name. If you don't want to become a member, your view is plenty for me. Just so you know, click like for your boy. Yeah, subscribe if you are new. Thank you guys for being here. We are back on the grind, hopefully, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.